another one of these quick little vlogs that I do. So this one I'm going to talk about this lens. It's still attached to the camera, but don't know if you can see it. But this bad boy here is the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. Okay, so a few specs about the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. Its focal range is obviously 13mm as mentioned. On a full frame camera that'd be approximately 20mm. Its maximum aperture is f1.4 and its minimum aperture is f16. The minimum focus distance is 22cm and its filter size is 67mm at the front. The dimensions are 74 by 90mm and its weight is approximately 420 grams. This lens is great. I love it. So the reason why I got this lens, so first off, I shoot a lot of award shows, and for those I shoot traditionally with the zoom lenses. So we're talking about the what do we have? We've got the 16 to 55mm, I think, on the Fuji X series. Now the 16mm is quite wide, but sometimes when you're doing an award show, it's not wide enough. So what what tends to happen occasionally, you'll have a winner come up on stage, and instead of it being like one or two individuals, it'll be like a team of 20, 30 people. And so you've got to get all of them in the frame, and sometimes you don't have a lot of room to do it. And the other challenge you have at 16mm, you kind of got to squeeze everyone in, which can be really difficult. So I tend to shoot the award show mostly with the 16 to 55mm, but for those moments when you get those people, those odd winners that have too many, I won't say too many, there's no such thing as too many winners, but you know, have too many people for a 16mm lens. I have that sort of on the other camera, so it's a good little backup to have on that. The other benefit is that you can get some really interesting shots, like for your own stuff, I find. I mean, in terms of architecture, it's really good, and it's nice to get shots in tight little spaces, which make them seem massive. I've also used it a little bit for a bit of landscape photography every now and then. At the moment, I'm working away from home. I'm up near Telford, and tomorrow I've got to get to the Brecon Beacons. So during that little road trip, I'm planning to stop off somewhere where there's according to Google, a nice little viewpoint. So I will probably pick this vlog up then. So I've stopped somewhere in between my journey from Telford to Brecon Beacons. It's pretty stunning. Right, so as you can see, I got to the top of this waterfall and it started raining. And while I got some nice photos, I had to wrap it up kind of quick, because the one thing that I'll say I don't like about the Viltrox 13mm f1.4, the Fujifilm, is that it is not weather resistant like most other Fujifilm lenses that are made by Fujifilm. So I'll cut Viltrox some slack on the basis of the price, and you know, the fact that it is worth the money, but you know, you're paying 300-400 quid for a lens. The only thing against it is it's not weather resistant, whereas the Fujifilm stuff, a lot of them are weather resistant. And I wouldn't have thought twice about this amount of rain, but because of this, and because it, you know, I've not tested it, and I don't really want to test it because it's my own, I bought it. I'm generally quite happy to put it away and save myself any money should it get damaged. Okay, so when it comes to editing the files that are taken, you know, the photos that are taken using the 13mm f1.4 from Viltrox, the quality is actually pretty solid. The images themselves are very detailed, and the color rendition is really good as well. I mean, granted, these images have been you know, they've been edited in Lightroom, and the colours, some of the colours have been punched out a little bit, and some of them have been taken back. But generally, the image quality is of a standard that I'd expect from a Fuji lens. So yeah, that's a big bonus for this one. The only small issue that you occasionally get is that there is a touch of lens distortion, but this is easily rectified using the the tools within Lightroom or any other image editor that you might be using. So how does this lens fare when it comes to video? The truth of the matter is I've not really tested it out in the field. I've taken a few video clips of my family using this lens, but I can honestly say it's probably, for me, it's probably a bit too wide for anything of main use. It could come in useful perhaps for an establishing shot, or even perhaps if you're filming a wedding and you want to get the shot of the confetti, it could come in useful there. But to be honest, I'm really happy shooting at 23mm on the Fujifilms. So for me, the 13mm was purchased primarily for photography, and to have a wide angle for videography, it's a nice to have, but for me it's not an essential. Right, so I'm going to wrap this review up now and just basically list the things that I like about the lens and the things that I don't like about the lens. The first thing I've got to say, I'm going to go for the things I don't like first, because there's only one thing I don't like, and I've mentioned it already, which is the lack of weather sealing. I can see that being quite problematic for people that work outside quite a lot. You know, I've done weddings before where it's started absolutely bucketing down in terms of weather, in terms of rain, and having a weather sealed lens is really handy. But you know, at the same time, it's not. That sort of thing to me is a nice to have. It's not an essential. So when I weigh it up with the things that I do like, it's quite, you know, it's quite inconsequential. It doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned. So the things that I do like, obviously, is the image quality. Now, I've put this lens through its paces. I've shot award shows with it. I've shot weddings, landscapes, architectural images, portraits, and most recently long exposures on a beach. And each time I've put a file into Lightroom to edit it, it's been an absolute pleasure to look at and work with. The quality that this lens can do is pretty good. Now, ergonomically, it has a nice balance to it. It feels quite weighty. When attached to the camera, it doesn't sort of feel top heavy or uncomfortable in the hand. So that's another bonus to it. And also, you know, it's a decent build. It's got a metallic finish to it. Even the lens hood, I think, is metallic. I might be wrong, but it certainly feels metallic. And I think it's scratching away a bit of silver there. I've had this for about a year now, so. But yeah, it's of a decent premium build. So, you know, when you consider the cost of it compared to its premium, you know, counterparts in competition, it's up there. It's punching above its weight, definitely. So yeah, which brings me to the price. The price, I think I paid 430 quid. I might be wrong. As I say, it was over a year ago. But when I compare that to how much the Fujifilm lenses cost, I mean, I think the last Fujifilm lens I got was a 23mm f1.4, which I absolutely love. It's probably one of my favourite lenses. When I compare it to that in terms of cost, the Viltrox is almost half the price of that. So, and the quality is definitely up there. So I wouldn't, yeah, I can't knock it for that. The fact that the only thing I can find wrong with it is a lack of weather sealing, I think that's a fair trade-off for that price. So in a nutshell, would I recommend this lens? Absolutely. I would absolutely recommend this lens within a heartbeat. If you need a wider angle and you need that sort of more open aperture at f1.4 for, you know, darker jobs where you're doing an award show or a wedding, then yeah, it's a no-brainer if you're after that sort of thing. So yeah, in a nutshell, I'd recommend this lens.